The fear of death is something we all experience at some point in our lives. But just imagine already being declared dead and hours later waking up in a morgue, or worse yet, already buried in a coffin. This literally sounds like something out of a horror movie, but believe it or not, it happens way more often than you think. The video clips I'm about to show you are of real people waking up in a morgue or coffin long after officially being declared deceased. I hope you enjoy the video.
Mississippi man may have thought it was a nightmare, but when he woke up in a body bag, it was a real thing.
Walter Williams was declared dead, but then he gave his family and friends the shock of a lifetime.
It was not my daddy's time.
78-year-old Walter Williams was pronounced dead late Wednesday night of natural causes, but it turned out he wasn't ready to go.
And at 2:30, my cousin called me and said, "Not yet." I said, "What you mean, not yet?"
The coroner who examined Williams at his home found he had no pulse and pronounced him dead.
I stood there and watched them put him in a body bag and zipped it up.
But it seems after he was moved into a funeral home to be embalmed, workers discovered he was still alive and kicking.
The mortician said something wasn't right. His legs started moving. Seemed like he had more life in him again.
He was not dead, long story short. We definitely was not going to do anything to him. And
once you saw that he was
right,
alive.
Right.
Paramedics rushed Williams to the hospital. Relatives and emergency responders alike were left in shock.
I asked the coroner what happened. He said, "Oh, he can call it a miracle."
And the family's shock soon turned to jubilation.
I don't know how much longer he gonna grace us and bless us with his presence, but hallelujah, we thank him right now.
The coroner says he now believes Williams' pacemaker stopped working and then started up again. There you have it. As for Mr. Williams, he tells relatives he's just happy to be alive.
45-year-old Premchaund was checked into a Berbice hospital after being diagnosed with a rare heart condition. 5 hours later, he was given saline and other medical treatment after he complained of chest pains while waiting to be triaged.
So I had to wait until the number didn't call yet, and I didn't know what happened. All I find myself in Ward 6, receiving oxygen and saline and blood.
3 hours after, doctors pronounced him dead and began the relevant standard procedures, including placing Premchaund in a body bag and placed in cold storage.
They placed you in the morgue?
Yeah. After then, the same day that I was in the ward, when I complained for chest pain, the nurse said I got to the doctor come and call, and there was no medication at that time. And then I know what happened after then, but Philip and the one who come and take me out from the mortuary, when he bring in somebody, when they hear the noise. 4 hours after. Yeah.
Tell me about that experience.
4 hours after.
Premchaund said that his family had started making funeral arrangements. This is when the unimaginable happened. A doctor who was about to place another body in cold storage noticed movement in a bag. So hospital workers were notified, and when they opened the bag, they discovered that Premchaund was alive.
Well, I wasn't fully conscious, but when they take me out, they take me to the back and beat me down with bleach, and then re-up me back to the ward. Well, I was in the ice box already inside, with my name tag off, name and number on the ward. It's when I fully conscious when they bring me out for bed, then I get conscious where I was. Then the nurse telling me he was in the mortuary, got to bed.
How did the nurses...
How they knew you were still alive in the morgue?
No, I was making noise. And Philip is the one who controlled the mortuary, bringing in somebody at the set time.
Premchaund said doctors told him that he played dead and are refusing to attend to him, calling him a ghost. He needs justice.
I need justice because I get no satisfaction. Nobody didn't want to see me back in the clinic. They say I played dead and no justice ain't coming out of it. No medication in place, nothing.
Did you write the minister, sir?
Yeah, I did that already and emailed him. I called him back on the cell phone since then the story happened. Telling me that he's still looking into it up to now. I called him back up to this morning.
Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
Next tonight, a rather harrowing experience. A Naivasha man threw mortuary attendants into a panic, forcing them to flee the morgue when he suddenly woke up, although he had been presumed dead. It was 20 hours of mourning and a similar time for a man to live among the dead. Here's the full story. Paul Mutora has had an interesting 20 hours. Until this morning, his family were mourning his death. This young man was pronounced dead last night at the Naivasha District Hospital after an apparent suicide. It all started on Tuesday afternoon when Paul and his father had an argument. The 24-year-old was then rushed to the Naivasha District Hospital in critical condition. Doctors at the hospital quickly put him on drugs that are given to patients who have taken poisonous substances.
The effect of atropine sometimes can be to slow the heart rate, and sometimes it can cause, or most of the time it causes dilatation of the pupils. These two observations are what are used to make a conclusion that somebody has lost their life.
Hours later, Paul rose from the dead and started calling for help. Several mortuary attendants took to their heels, while others were brave enough to remove him and take him back to the ward as operations at the hospital came to a standstill. As Paul lay on his bed recuperating, doctors say he's out of danger. However, several family members are blaming the hospital for being careless.
The person who was working in that ward did an assessment, and unfortunately he seems not to have understood the effect of some of the drugs that are used to treat phosphate poisoning.
Investigations as to how a patient was pronounced dead when he was still alive has been launched by the Naivasha District Hospital.
Now here's a man with a story to tell. Health officials in South Africa haven't released his name, but they say he recently woke up in a morgue refrigerator nearly a full day after he suffered an asthma attack at home, and his family thought he was dead and called the undertaker to come get the body. A spokesman for the Provincial Health Department shudders to think what could have happened.
Well, it's appalling that it has happened, that there might be other cases, and I think the problem is there has to be a properly signed off death certificate by a medical professional. Obviously that didn't happen in the circumstances, and I think we need to find out why.
The morgue owners said there was no sign of a pulse when the body was checked. He said after staff put the body into a locked refrigerated compartment, they realized there had been a mistake when they heard the man shouting for help. Ross Simpson, The Associated Press.
This disturbing footage is of a grieving family smashing their way into a tomb and wrenching open the coffin of 16-year-old Nelsy Perez, who was heard screaming from inside the mausoleum. Relatives claimed that they found the viewing glass window smashed and the tips of the dead girl's fingernails covered in bruises. But despite efforts to revive her, medics found no sign of life, and she was later returned to the cemetery and reburied in the same place. Miss Perez, who was 3 months pregnant, reportedly fell unconscious after waking up in the middle of the night to use the outside toilet at her home in La Entrada, Western Honduras. The family believes that she might have collapsed in an apparent panic attack after hearing a burst of gunfire. But when the teenager started foaming at the mouth, her religious parents called the local priest, believing she had become possessed by an evil spirit. The priest made an attempt to exorcise her, but she later became lifeless and was rushed to hospital, where 3 hours later doctors declared her dead. She was buried in the wedding dress she had recently used to get married. If you enjoyed this video, give me the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to hit the bell icon if you'd like to be notified every time I upload a brand new video. Until next time, take care and always be good to each other.